All right, bro. I know you're Italian,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just thinking about this the other day.
Okay.
What constitutes as a real pizza? There's so many different bases.
Mm-hmm.
You have ranch, you have barbecue, and then you have your traditional pizza sauce, and then you have olive oil. What constitutes to you as a real pizza? And you're Italian, so that's. I feel like this question is validated just off of that alone.
Right. I don't know the exact origins of it, but I think you answered your own question because you literally said there's all these different bases. There's, the Alfredo and the ranch and the olive oil and then traditional marinara, tomato, whatever you said. The traditional. But it's marinara. It's tomato based sauce.
Do we know though that marinara was the original?
I mean, I don't. I've never done research on it, but in my soul, as an Italian, I feel like that's
Okay.
got to be true because
It's gotta be true,
it's got
or
to
it
be,
is
man.
true.
I don't know. I'm not gonna like. I don't. I keep it real with you. I'm not gonna like lie and pretend like I know something.
That's fair.
But
Yeah.
I think, like in my soul tells me it's right. It's my soul tells me that tomato-based pizza with mozzarella and all that stuff on top.
Mozzarella. Yeah.
That is the original style.
Do
Now it could be different, but I mean it would make sense that it'd be tomatoes. Tomatoes have been around for quite some time, and they've been used in cooking for a long time, and obviously they're in. Oh God, probably 80% of Italian dishes.
yeah, this is real. Yeah.
So if we're going off of that, and that pizza is genuinely an Italian thing, I think genuine pizza, like original type pizza, would be crust, like hand rolled dough, stuff like that.
Yeah.
A nice little Evo
EVO.
glaze,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then some tomato based, marinara or pizza sauce, whatever you want to call it, something like that.
Yeah.
It may have been a little harder than what we have now. Like might have been a little more chunky.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Before tomato paste was really made popular. But
Mm-hmm.
I, yeah, I mean, I think that's what it was with some mozzarella on top, or maybe another type of cheese. But I mean, is definitely a staple.
Basil. It was.
Oh yeah, for sure. Basil,
Mozzarella, fresh basil,
cilantro,
a nice crust, salt and pepper.
yeah. I mean, even rosemary and stuff was probably in the sauce and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
but that's my thing. That'd be the traditional sauce. So in my heart, tomato based sauce is the way to do pizza. And I genuinely, I'm not saying this because I'm an elitist or anything like that, but I just genuinely don't really like pizzas that don't have a tomato based sauce. Like I don't like an Alfredo pizza. I don't like buffalo chicken pizza. I don't like
I'm not a buffalo chicken
buffalo
pizza guy.
ranch pizza. I don't
No.
I don't like anything that's not a tomato based sauce, and that's my personal preference, obviously. But you're asking me. I think that's the original traditional type of pizza.
All right, that's fair. I love traditional pizza, and I think that it's either going to be like EVO. I don't just think that it was tomatoes. I think that it started off EVOO, gave it a brown crust. Then you throw mozzarella, and then you throw some of your.
So you don't think there was any sauce?
I don't think there was any sauce starting off. I don't.
That'd be a horrible pizza. That's not even a pizza.
You don't know
That's
that.
I do. If you gave me a piece of dough that was brown with some extra virgin olive oil and
But it
some
had a
fucking
nice.
cheese,
It had a nice crust. It wasn't
Yeah.
burnt.
right. But I mean, olive oil's still used. Like that's how you brown your crust. But you have to have something to add some substance to it. You just throw cheese on there, some sausage, some spicy Italian sausage or something like that. Like, come on, man.
I don't know if pizza sauce was really like right there. I feel like it came over time. I just don't feel like
So
it
you
was
just
right
think
right
it was some crispy bread.
Why
with
do you
some
say it
cheese
like
on
that?
top?
It
'Cause that's
wasn't
what you
just
said.
crispy bread.
said with
it
some-
was good bread.
You said some.
It was good.
You
bread.
said some Evo on there, and
Yeah,
then
EVO,
cheese.
You act like EVOO has no purpose at all, but
I-
it just makes shit super fucking crusty.
No, I mean that's literally the reason for olive oil on.
But it gives
on
it a
pizza
nice.
crust.
Or if you bake it at the right temperature and
Uh-huh.
like the right time,
Right.
it doesn't have to be crusty. It could just be like this It's nice and crusty on the outside, but on the inside you got that nice doughy, and then you get the cheesiness from the mozzarella, and
Right,
then you
but the
get the
whole
basil.
point of putting the olive oil on there is to make it crisp up, to give it that flake. You literally said that. Like on the outside, it's nice and crusty, crispy, and then the inside
That
is soft.
you wouldn't.
I'm not talking about a piece of flat
I
cardboard,
didn't say
but
that
I
you had
don't
to put
think.
EVOO on there to make it crispy.
Right. No, I mean, you don't have to, but that's how it's made. That's how probably 95% of places make pizza is some form of oil on the crust. Otherwise, it dries out. It starts to crack. It really dries out. Like it just becomes hard in a brick. That olive oil, one, soaks into it a little bit. Two, makes it crisp up when it's in the oven.
Okay.
So I'm not doubting that olive oil was absolutely part of the traditional recipe or whatever, but you just can't substitute. There's just not with no sauce. Like,
So
come on, man. Like, it's just cheese on there, so you're literally eating like a pita bread with some olive oil and cheese melted on it.
I mean, that sounds like the first pizza that was ever made.
I don't think so.
I think it was. Hey, if you guys have any things
Insight?
to insight, yeah, like insight or comments, or maybe your parents were like the original settlers in Italy, feel free to jump on this and comment and leave your 2 cents. Brian's Italian. I'm not. I'm not fully convinced that the original pizza consisted with a tomato sauce. But nonetheless,
So, this is us post recording. Isaiah did a little bit of research, and he has something he wants to share with you guys.
I don't really want to share it with you guys, but so Italy unified in 1861, and King Umberto I and Queen Margherita visit Naples in 1889. Legend has it that the traveling pair became bored with their steady diet of French cuisine and asked for an assortment of pizzas from the cities of Pizzeria Brandi, the successor to Da Pietro Pizzeria founded in 1760. The variety the Queen enjoyed most was called pizza mozzarella, a pie topped with soft white cheese, red tomatoes,
There it
and
is.
green basil.
There she be.
This is Say How You Feel, episode 2. And yes, we are out here on the porch again, my friends, because it is the best place to be. I am Izzy Human. I'm Isaiah. My brother Brian. Love.
I don't have a nickname, that's why he paused. But it's okay. I'm working on it. I got like a ricochet thing going, but we haven't ironed it out yet.
Yeah.
But real quick on the porch,
Nah.
I just want to shout out Shaggy.
Hey.
You want to shout out Shaggy right
Yo,
quick?
shout
He's
out to
supporting on YouTube, the
100%,
Twitter sphere.
100%. Yes.
Man's is everywhere. Go ahead and shout him out.
Yo, shout out to my boy Shaggy. Shout out to the So Litty group. You guys have been nothing but an incredible support and just an incredible frequency, and your energy is solid. So I'm really excited to see my man Shaggy jump on here. Yes, man, I'm super excited for this series to just keep jumping off and jumping off and jumping off. And man, I can't even put in the words. This is literally just two boys sitting out here on the porch, talking about love, life, and everything in between. For real, we got cars going by, we got birds chirping, we got everything, man. Everything.
Listen, and it was a hot day in
Yeah.
Ohio
Yeah.
for all of our out-of-state friends, wherever you may be, around the world, around the country. It was hot and muggy today, yesterday, and now there's just this like nice breeze that's rolled through. It feels so good.
Incredible.
Feels really good to decompress after a long, long day.
We
You
had
feel
a-
me, bro?
Yo, we had a long day today.
So, guys, we're excited for this one. Stick around with us. We're going to have some fun tonight.
100%.
So, on that note, I know we like to do the cold opens and stuff like that, but I can't get quite off the Italian thing yet because I want your opinion on something, right?
Okay.
So, a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I took a little extra time in my grooming and trimmed my beard up and my mustache in a way that it curled. And I just let it happen naturally because, it does curl naturally. I kind of brush it down and comb it down, and I let it get a little little wild man sometimes because, I'm a little guy, man.
Well, you
Makes
got
me look bigger than I am. You
got
feel
the
me?
beard to do it.
Well, yeah, it's still a little spotty on the cheeks, but we're getting there.
It's all good.
We're getting there. But the mustache, though, when I trim it right, man, it curls like crazy on its own.
Dude,
and
your
I don't even
mustache
really
is
have
on
to use that
point.
much product.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, obviously normal washes, conditions, stuff like that. And then I do have balms and oils and stuff I use, but it's not like it's a daily regimen necessarily or anything like that. But what do you do for yours?
So I'm pretty simple with mine. I just go for a beard wash. I love Cremo. Okay. And again, there's no sponsors with this, but I love Cremo. I love the product. I have very coarse hair, so it was very much an uphill battle for me to try to find the right type of product that didn't cause any kind of like ingrown bumps or anything like that, or like irritations. Cremo has done me some real good justice. I enjoy that so much that I go with the wash.
Yeah.
Then I'll go with the balm as well. Now the oils I go back and forth with, but I love Duke Cannon. Duke Cannon is a really, really solid. They're just a solid brand. And also, if you guys didn't know about Duke Cannon, for every purchase that you make with Duke Cannon, all of those purchases will go back to the veterans. If you didn't know that, yeah.
But also, again, still not sponsored. We're just
still not
shouting people
sponsored.
out.
No, it's not sponsored by any stretch, y'all. I just love Duke Cannon. They've got this real, just, I don't even want to say manly scents because I don't want to categorize it like that, but they're just very, they're very natural scents. That's the best way to put it. They're very natural scents. You know, you've got your candle woods and you've got your cedar woods, and then like you've got like the smoked, and I like those types of scents.
Did you say candlewood?
Sandalwood.
Oh, I thought you said candlewood. I was like, does he really think that's what it is?
Candlewood. We got a new scent.
We might.
What would a candlewood smell like?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I genuinely don't know.
A candlewood.
Yeah.
Would that be the scent of a candle made out of wood, or would it be a candle that smelled like wood?
I don't think candles inherently have a scent. I think you have to add it to it.
So it'd be a candle that smelled like wood.
Or it'd just be a candle that smells like wax.
Or wood that smelled like a
wax
candle with wood.
You got wood? It's like that right now?
Talking
about beards?
How much could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck couldn't chuck wood?
Couldn't chuck wood?
Yeah.
Or could?
Couldn't.
No, it's could.
How much could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Yeah.
It was could.
That's why you're saying, yeah.
So it was
because
it
doesn't chuck wood, but that's what we call it. It's actually a groundhog. Do you know a woodchuck and a groundhog are like the same thing?
Isn't a woodchuck a bird, bro?
I don't know. No. No.
So what do you mean?
No,
a fucking groundhog and a woodchuck are not. They're two completely different things.
No, they're definitely not. Pull out your phone. Google it.
All right.
No, a woodchuck is not a bird. A woodchuck is like a groundhog.
Y'all, I don't believe it.
A woodchuck is a groundhog.
I'm calling bullshit.
All right.
I'm calling it.
Y'all hearing it live.
Yep.
This is another one of our great debates.
Yep.
He is about to have a look on his face that I wish y'all could see.
What is the difference? I'm going to start it off like that. What is the difference
between a woodchuck and a groundhog?
Between a woodchuck and a...
Oh, this is going to be so good.
Yeah,
you guys are going to love this.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to this. Groundhog. So many typos. Oh my goodness. What is the difference? Okay. There is no difference between a groundhog and a woodchuck. In fact, the terms woodchuck and groundhog are interchangeable.
Whoopsie.
Yo.
Hey, man, did you hear all those woodchucks chirping in the background last episode?
You know what?
What's up?
I was thinking about a woodpecker.
That's Woody, bro. That's Woody.
What?
Woody the woodpecker? No, it's how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Because woodchucks, I don't think they actually like eat wood necessarily. I just think that people call them that because I think they burrow. I think they burrow under wood piles usually, or like under house frames and stuff. Like I think that's where kind of that came from. I could be completely wrong on that though.
I'm really disgruntled right now.
I'm sure somebody's gonna correct me and tell me I'm an idiot, but that's normal.
So is a woodchuck
Mhm.
a nickname for a groundhog?
I would think so. I would think woodchuck is the nickname, and groundhog's a little closer to like, it's probably not the scientific name, like,
Yeah.
you know, uh, Groundamus hoggalus.
Sounds
Or
like something.
Hogalimus or
something
something.
Latin.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably something close to that. But anyways, I was
So-
right. You were wrong, and I feel great.
I feel like I'm educated.
Well, that's good. That's one of our goals of this podcast.
I feel very educated today. So where are they in relation to the beavers? Are they in the same family?
I don't think so.
Whoa.
I mean, woodchucks, I don't think they live in water. Like, I don't think they make dams and stuff. I think that's
But they
a
do it with
beaver
wood.
thing. I don't think they do. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they really do much with wood. I think people just call them woodchucks because, I don't know. Like I said, I think they burrow. I think they just burrow under houses and like wood piles and stuff. Like we had one under our wood pallet out back one day.
A
We thought
woodchuck.
Mishka was gonna get it. It was just hanging out under there.
Mishka is his dog.
Yeah, she's my husky. Sorry, she's crazy, and she sometimes forgets that she is a domesticated dog and likes to hunt wild animals that are running around the property. And it is very difficult to catch her when she's like that because she's a lazy dog until she decides she wants to go after something, and she is quick,
Dedicated.
100%.
She's a great dog though.
Oh, she's
is.
great.
Well, and he has 3 dogs. He has 3 dogs.
Yes.
So what are your other 2 dogs? What
Assholes.
Okay. I don't think that's a breed. I don't think that's a breed at all.
No, one's a German Shepherd or American Shepherd and Rottweiler mix.
Okay.
He was kind of a, it was one of those things we weren't super sure, but he's kind of the runt of the litter.
Is that
And-
Jackson?
No, that's Champion.
Champ. Oh,
Yeah,
Champ.
it's Champion. Yeah,
Champion.
yeah. He's small. He's a small dog for what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, especially
He's
with that
pretty
German
small.
Shepherd mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like he's got the rock coloring and stuff on his face, but that's why we think it might be American Shepherd,
Yeah.
possibly, and that maybe he got like recessive traits of both
Yeah.
because he does not like outside.
We're talking about the little one.
No, the medium one.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So I thought Jackson.
Jackson is we think a black lab and corgi mix,
Yeah, that's what I
and
was.
maybe some like pit or something in there somewhere possibly because he's got the widest forehead that I've seen. But he is like all right. So you've seen like a normal hot dog, right? Like a Oscar Mayer, what like a ballpark Frank, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then like you ever see those real meat hot dogs that are like twice as thick as the normal ones and
Yes.
like just a little bit longer, but you're like there is no bun that is made for that.
Mm-hmm.
That is that dog. He stands 4 inches off the ground and is 20. I don't know how long he is, man. He's like 2 feet long. Like, he literally has to back up and make a 3-point turn to turn around. Straight up. And he is dumb as a brick. He's a sweetheart, means nobody harm,
He is
but
a
he
very
is
sweet dog.
he is dumb.
He's funny.
But he has got a lot of stuff in him. He was a rescue. Someone abandoned him in a garage. We saw a post on Craigslist, and Champ, our first dog, he's our oldest, the medium one.
Yeah.
He kind of got a little depressed and stuff, and so we were like, all right, well, let's get him another dog to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And we got Jackson, and he hated him, and we just realized that he's just a grumpy fuck. Like, he's just an old grumpy dog now. Like,
He's in his
that,
ways.
yeah, that's what it is. Like
Yeah.
he's just like, leave me alone. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to play with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
cuddle with my mom, and eat my food alone. Like, don't touch me. Anybody else? Like, the other dogs try to play with him, and it's
I'm good.
yeah, he just doesn't entertain it usually.
I'm not here to play.
Yeah, so but they're all good dogs. Like, don't get me wrong, they are good, but they definitely do some things that irritate my soul.
I have a beautiful pit bull, and her name is Isabella, aka Izzy. So there's 2 Izzies in the building, myself and Isabella. And she's an old pup. She's been around for a while. She's been through the ringer. She's been through a lot. She's so chill, and she's very much like Jackson or Champ in that space, where she is just, I'm doing me, don't mess with me, don't bother me, I'm not bothering you, so why would you bother me? That type of thing. And she's super dope. I appreciate her. She's super restless. She's really hard to sleep in bed with, but I wouldn't have it any other way. She's
Nah,
incredible.
she's a sweetheart.
Yeah,
She really is.
she is. I enjoy her energy.
She's definitely goofy though.
Yeah, she has her her quirks for sure. She's
Yeah.
she's awesome though.
So-
Shout out to Isabella.
Yeah, but all right, guys, your turn. Tell us what kind of pets you got, what their names are,
Yeah.
and let's go with one quirky fact about them. Something weird they like to do. Let us know.
Yeah.
We'll pick out our favorite one and we'll talk about it on next week's episode.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'd love to hear stuff like this. Dogs do. It's like Bill Cosby. Kids do the darndest things.
Yep.
But dogs do the darndest things.
They really do sometimes. They act very human-like.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. So, I wanted to get with you because last week we were talking about a couple of the albums.
Yeah.
And, some of our influences.
Yep.
So, one of the things I wanted to jump on was some of our earlier influences. Or more on our earlier influences. I know
Talking about like early teens or
yeah,
what
yeah.
are you talking about?
Well, early teens, but more our childhood, more of our childhood. What were the things that we were listening to as kids that put us in the position that we're in now to be listening to the music that we're listening to now? And I want to ask you this because I've never really asked you this.
Yeah.
I know you love rock. You're huge, but you're very eclectic. You're very eclectic in all spaces.
Oh yeah, I've come to appreciate that. So there was definitely a time in my life where all I listened to was rock. I was a butt rock guy, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And as I learned to play guitar better and singing on my own and, doing vocals and then starting to pick up other instruments and stuff, I broadened my horizons a lot. But in terms of early childhood, without getting too deep, and a lot of this, bro, I didn't really listen to music before I was 13. It just wasn't an option. It wasn't available to me.
Yeah.
Straight up. And, I'm sure you guys will learn more about this through the podcast, and, we'll talk about personal stories and stuff. I'm not afraid to talk about it, but it's just one of those things, like, that's not one of the luxuries I ever enjoyed in life, which is why I think when I finally did start to listen to music and learn and figured out how to express myself, I guess, through that and channel my emotions into that helped me so much, and that's why it's such a big factor in my life now.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost feels weird to think about it, but I genuinely don't know, outside of hearing the radio in the car every so often or something like that I ever really listened to music before my probably 11, 12, 13, maybe probably 12 or 13, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think I did. Like, it's crazy, but it's, yeah, I guess you can't miss what you don't know you don't have.
That's fair. Yeah.
And that's just one of those things. That's just part of my childhood. That's kind of what made me who I was. So I'll say my earliest influences were, again, I was a butt rock guy, kind of emo-esque, angsty. So I really latched on to bands like Breaking Benjamin, who is still to this day my favorite band.
Solid band.
I've been very close with them before, and like it's just awesome guys.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that were in the original, and then Ben obviously started with the new crew, but that's neither here nor there. But like 3 Days Grace, that was another one.
Yeah.
Huge influence on my early teen
3
years.
Days Grace is incredible.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like, I connect with them for so many different reasons because of what happened. Like, one, it was me transitioning from being scared or alone or whatever it may have been, emotionally wise, to being able to channel that pain and fear and whatever into into music and stuff like that, and actually
Yeah.
relate with something. And honestly, as corny as it may sound, and I think everybody that likes music has these interactions with the band at some point. I feel like there are times where those bands and just their music in general saved my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
100%,
whether that's
bro.
metaphorically or, like genuinely, like, I was that close to that point that, something like that could have pulled me back. But for me, it was more of an emotional thing. It kept me from being so guarded that, or not even guarded, just shut down,
Yeah.
just emotionless. And I mean, you know me now. I'm a fucking asshole, dude.
To a T. Well, to
Right.
an A, capital A.
But like, think about if I had no music. Oh my god.
You'd be this really quiet weirdo.
I don't even know. I don't. Gosh.
Do you think you'd have a beard?
I don't know. I don't feel like I ever would have shaved or gotten a haircut.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
imagine
Like,
these things.
I don't know what would have become of me without music, and like even to this day, I decompress with music.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't have to be anything specific, but it's just a deep emotional thing for me, and it's no different than listening to a comedian or watching your favorite TV show or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just music does that for me.
100%. Dig that.
So what about you? What about the pre-Linkin Park phase? And I'm not saying phase as in like, it was a bad thing, but like, what was your earliest influences in music? We talking like Twinkle Twinkle, or what we thinking?
So, one of the earliest songs that I remember when I was a child was Crisscross Jump Jump. That was one of the first things that I remember. And from that point, I remember the hip hop, but I don't remember it so much that I could say Rakim or Eric B or anybody like that. I really can't give you that. It was pop. It was pop for me. And listening to Prince, and there was Michael Jackson, and there was even Elton John, Madonna.
As I've gotten older, bro, Elton John,
Dude,
he's got some music, man.
I respect Elton
like
John
whether or not
a
you think
lot.
he, I mean, I don't know that he really has much of a bad reputation, genuinely.
He doesn't. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. But like, obviously, with any successful artist, or
You're gonna have some controversy.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, and like somebody's not gonna like him for this reason or that
Right.
reason. But outside of those one-offs, like I never really gave his music much of a thought beyond, I'm listening to, Rocket Man or whatever, and
Yeah.
I'm singing along. That
Yeah.
that was Elton John.
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew. There for a second, I thought I was talking about the wrong guy.
Nope. You're good. You're good. You're right there. You're right there.
Billy Joel, that's who I was thinking about. I was like, did I just mix up Elton John and Billy Joel?
Well, you throw Elton John in the category of as a, what's the word I'm looking for, a timeless artist with
Right.
like Tom Petty.
Tom Petty, and then Billy Joel would
Yeah,
fall
Billy
into
Joel
that for
would fall
me.
in that,
Eric
yeah.
Clapton,
Yeah.
but again, like, I mean, that's one of those things. Like, I never really listened to the music
Mm-hmm.
until I was older.
Yeah.
And when I
Yeah,
say older, I
exactly.
mean like 19 years old, before I really started exploring different genres and artists and stuff outside of this core group of alternative rock. I
Yeah.
believe is what it, Breaking Benjamin, those guys were classified as, Trapped, all them.
Mhm.
That's all I listened to for like 6 straight years.
Yeah.
And looking back now, I'm like, dude, I missed that one so much, because I'm finding bands still to this day
Yeah,
that
same.
were starting out
years ago.
back then, and I'm
Right.
like, oh man,
Where
I
did they
missed
come
that.
from?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
missed them. What do you mean they've been doing it for 20 years?
Right.
What? I'm that
Exactly.
old?
Mhm.
So yeah. But go ahead.
No, I listen to. I'm huge. I'm huge on rock. I'm huge on rock. So as I got older, Rage Against the Machine became an item. Rage Against the Machine and myself became an item. We're talking about Killing in the Name of. We're talking about Bulls on Parade. We're talking about. Gosh, there was one joint. People in the Sun. Yeah, that was another one. People of the Funk, because you're talking about Renegades. Rage Against the Machine, dude, created this rebellion in me, and early on, and rebellion is such a, yes, it's defined as this, but rebellion to me was just in a general sense of, it made me question. I started to question things at an early age. So, give you a quick list. We're talking about Linkin Park. We're talking about Saliva, Mudvayne, Papa Roach, Slipknot. Slipknot was another one. Subliminal Verses. One of my favorite albums of all time. And Disturbed and Avenged Sevenfold. Man, I'm telling y'all. Just everything and in between with this rock music, y'all. And and then from there, my music started to expand. It started to expand to the Used, and then with the Taste of Ink, and then My Chemical Romance, and then Aiden. I mean, the list goes on. Panic at the Disco, my guy.
See, it's so weird, right? And like, I guess those aren't really 3 Days Grace and Breaking Benjamin-esque and stuff like that. But they're the emo alternative scene. But that's funny. Like, you started in a different place and transitioned to where I started, and I transitioned over to where you were, and now we both just, I don't know. I think we look at all music very, very openly, and I don't think I've ever had somebody recommend something that I was like, nah, I don't want to listen to that unless I specifically just didn't like the artist.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
And that was a complete social, or not social, but like just a personal thing that I'm like, all right, I don't really like this artist, or their music, it's not my thing, right?
Mhm.
But that's the only time I've ever been like, nah, I don't want to check that out. If somebody sent me something or whatever, I
Mhm.
always look, because now I'm just so open to whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I love hearing new stuff. I mean, no joke, I'll sit sometimes and listen to classical.
Oh yeah.
Jazz.
Oh yeah, dude.
Fusion.
Yeah.
I get into some like dubstep sometimes.
Mhm.
And that's what I love too, is like being like that, and you're the same way, and a lot of times we vibe out together, especially at work. Is there's music for every mood. It's just whether or not you like it,
Right.
and we like it all.
Yeah,
It's great.
it is. And I've been listening. So there for a while, I was listening to a lot of French cafe music, instrumentals.
Yeah.
Listening to a lot of just foreign language, which was super dope to me. And I didn't understand anything that they were saying at all, but it was just the way that they were putting it out there. You felt that emotion. You didn't know what they were saying, but you felt what they were saying.
How did you get into something like that? Like, what turned you on to it? Was it like you listened to like 99 Red Balloons, or whatever that song, the English title of that is, but 99 Luftwaffe balloons, or whatever it is.
I know where you're going with that one. Like
Or like Du Hast by the German metal band.
Gosh, bro.
Rammstein.
Yeah, Stein. Yeah.
Stein, yeah, but I think it's like Stein.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's like Stein
I think so.
or Steen.
It might be Steen. But like, are you like listening to that stuff and you're like, I wonder what other kind of music they have, or how, like, I don't know. I've not really gotten into the foreign music scene outside of like classical composers and, maybe like Pitbull or something like that, or Dua Lipa or something, where they do multilingual stuff.
The mix, yeah.
Right. So, but how do you get into like French cafe music? Like, literally, it's like where you're just sitting there and like, oh, let me listen to some elevator music and some French cafe music.
Yeah.
Like, where did that thought come from?
I was a kid and I was excuse me. I was a kid and I started listening to classical music early on.
Okay.
I really loved classical music. I was going back and forth. So I'm from Lima, Ohio originally, and I was listening to 92 Zoo. So all my people who know what 92 Zoo was, that was 9.21 or 92.1. So I was listening to that, which was all of your pop and, your alternative rock. But then I was also got curious and started moving the radio station. I started listening to classic rock, or not rock, I'm sorry, guys. Classical at an early age. So I want to say that it stemmed from there, and then my love for classical music and instrumentals started to grow and grow and grow. And then I want to jump back onto the rock, because even the rock, when I was watching a show called, and I know y'all know what I'm talking about when I say this, for all my grungies, Viva La Bam with Bam Margera.
Yep.
Bam Margera had a band that was constantly on there called CKY. And they were a heavy metal grunge band. And I couldn't tell you for the life of me right now where they were originally from, but they were from Europe. And even that in itself just became this whole thing for me. Like, what? Excuse me? So the classical music, that, and then just all this now, and now I'm really into the Spanish guitar. I've really been listening to Bad Bunny.
Yep.
Bad Bunny and YRC, and there's a few other people that I can't think of right now. It's like Quipudo or something like that. I can't think of the name.
There's no way that was right.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. It was
Chicharron.
And that's a food.
But it's okay, bro, because like that's the thing though.
Okay, my bad.
That's the thing though. You give that little hesitation. That's why I'm so on you all the time. Is you give me that little hesitation. That's like my window to sneak in there and say some smart shit.
Is that like window pane for you, or?
Oh, that's an Eminem lyric, isn't it? No, is that Lil Wayne?
I think that came well before Eminem and well before Lil Wayne. Window pane was like maybe Tony.
No.
Like lay your head on my pillow type shit. Living single with Queen Latifah. Like somebody said window pane prior.
But I'm talking like, somebody used it as a pun though. Like not as like a
Eminem did in Recovery.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. Gosh, what was it?
Because I'm pretty sure the end resolve of it is, and you can call that window pane or something like that.
Yeah, that was the one joint with him and Rihanna. Love the way you lie.
Love the way you lie.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think they coined that? Somebody else coined that phrase?
Window pane?
Yeah.
Because
as a pun, like a rap pun. Like, do you think they did that original, or do you think Tony, or somebody else like used it as a pun? Because I genuinely don't know of anybody before him that did it. I just know that was one of those, like, I listened to it again and like that stood out to me. I love that stuff. Lil Wayne is super good at that too.
He's the puncher,
bro. He's got so many puns, and a lot of them like you may not get on the first or second pass, and then you're listening to, you're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he. Oh, I got you. Like, I love those moments in music.
Lil Wayne, and that's why Lil Wayne forever until this day will be the most prolific artist of all time. Really.
Which one?
Lil Wayne.
You think so?
Yeah.
The most prolific?
One of the most prolific.
Really? You think so? And don't get me wrong, no disrespect. I love Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne has done so much.
He's one of my favorite, like, to listen to just for, like, one-liners, if nothing else. But I love Lil Wayne. But
he's done rock songs. And you have to think, out of all of this, Lil Wayne, to our knowledge, has not written a single song. He has freestyled every song up to when he was back with these guys. Gosh, you guys are gonna have to help me. So many degrees. And then up to that point when he was a kid, all the way up to this point now. Same thing with Hove. Lil Jay-Z. I said Lil Jay-Z. Jay-Z. These guys haven't written a thing. And you have to think about that. Lil Wayne has not written a single thing for decades upon decades.
Come on, man. You can't believe that.
I can with him.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think every song that he's come out with, let's just say in the last
sure that
20 years.
I'm sure people in his studio.
You know what? So I don't sound stupid. Yeah. How long has he been an artist?
Lil Wayne has been an artist.
It's got to be over 30 years now, right? Or is that stupid?
Lil Wayne, so back...
Did I just make myself look real dumb?
Lil Wayne was a kid rapping when you and I were born in our 90s. So when we were born in 1991, right. Lil Wayne was rapping. Around that time.
Are you sure, though?
I'm pretty positive.
Okay. Because, I mean, again, my music horizon didn't expand until about a decade ago. So I still got a lot of catching up to do.
Lil Wayne was with Juvenile and Big and Manny Fresh and Birdman and all that down in Louisiana. I'd be lying to
you if I said I knew what dates, like years, those were.
But I'd also be lying to you, too, if I told you that I was listening to Lil Wayne back when in mid-90s.
Right,
I
that's
wasn't.
fair.
I was not.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Lil Wayne has been rich since the 90s.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
But my thing is, though, like, let's just say for the last 20 years, you don't think he's written down any of these songs before he performed them? Like, just sat down and written?
No. And the reason why I say
not at all.
no, not at all. Every time Lil Wayne in his interviews, all of his interviews up until this point, people will quote his lyrics, and the number one thing that he says every single time, I said that.
Yeah.
I said that for real. What? Nah, I ain't say that. I don't remember. But
Eminem does that too, though.
Eminem will say that too.
I mean, he had actually it was there was one interview I watched, and I don't remember which one was the guilty party, if you will. You know.
Yeah.
But one of them was telling the other one, like, yeah, we absolutely did. We were in a video together, and, like, you don't remember saying this? I think it was Eminem telling Lil Wayne this, maybe. But, like, I mean, they both had those moments and stuff. But, like, Lollipop, you can't tell me that wasn't a rehearsal. He went in there and freestyled a chorus?
Yes, 110%. But he wasn't the one who did the chorus. Lil Wayne didn't do that chorus. No, he didn't.
Who sung it?
Static.
In the original Lollipop?
Shawty wanna thug, bottles full of bub. That was not Lil Wayne.
But
that was Static.
She's so sweet, make her want to lick the rapper. That's
no,
all
he
him.
did that. No, he did that.
Yeah,
She's
and
so sweet, make her wanna lick the lollipop.
That's part of the chorus, right? Or at least the bridge.
It's
so,
I wouldn't really call it a bridge though. But they looped that. He said that one time and they looped that. He said that one time and they looped that. That was a freestyle. Static did that. Static did that hook. Rest in peace, Static.
Well, I guess I'll concede the point then and chalk it up to either I don't know enough about music or I'm not nearly as creative as I thought I was. Reason I say that is because there's no universe I could imagine ever being able to make as much music as Lil Wayne has without, having some of it written down in a book and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a song I wanted to make. That was one I sat down and wrote last summer, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I'll chalk it up as a loss. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that the man's lying or anything like that. I don't know. For me, that just doesn't seem like a reality that's possible. But that's why I'm not a famous rich musician, and I'm sitting on my front porch.
There's nothing wrong with this porch.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
It's a great porch.
I bet you his porch is nicer, though.
Maybe it's not a porch.
Pergola? That's a thing, right?
I was thinking
I think it's an arch, but...
I thought about a moat.
A moat?
Yeah.
A moat's in the ground, dude. You can't sit on a moat. You put water in a moat. You can row a boat in a moat.
I didn't say he had a porch.
Because a boat floats.
I didn't say
he had a moat.
I didn't say he had a porch.
I know.
I said, what if he had a moat?
Well, you can have a porch and a moat. They're not. You don't put a moat where your porch would be. A moat should be like out.
But who's to say he has a porch? So what does it matter anyway? What if he just has a moat?
I just said his porch is probably nicer.
And I said, what if he doesn't have a porch?
No. You said, what if it's not a porch?
You just said the same thing that I just said.
No, you said, what if he doesn't have one? And you said, what if it's not a porch?
Yeah,
meaning he has something that you can sit on, but it's not called a porch.
No, don't overgeneralize this. That's not where I went with that at all. I get where you were going with that, but you and I both know that's not what I meant. I more so meant not having a porch at all, and he had a moat.
Okay.
Fine. God, bro.
Here's something, though, that I do want to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
We're kind of running short on time, but that's okay. I want to ask you about your thoughts on artificial intelligence.
Ooh.
Because from a very young age, I always imagined stuff like that, right? Computers and whatnot. But I also, again, I never really had access to any of that when I was a kid. But I always imagined things that, could think and be sentient, essentially.
Yeah.
AI, man. There's a big talk about it and the fears of it being sentient and, learning to think and reason and potentially cause the cataclysm. You know what I mean? Or, maybe not cataclysm, but take the world down.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a cataclysm, but not like a weather-based one necessarily. But, what's your thoughts on that? Have you done any thinking or research on it? Do you an expert and I just don't know?
I'm
Are
not.
you a robot?
Maybe we're all robots.
We might.
Maybe we're all being programmed to do things unconditionally, but conditionally. You don't know. I mean, Metallica had master puppets.
I have no idea what that has to do with AI, but sure, because I'm pretty sure that song's about cocaine.
I don't. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe, or maybe not cocaine, but I'm pretty sure it's about a drug.
Or maybe they were
Like
on
being
drugs.
a master of puppets and like you're pulling my strings.
I don't think that had anything to do with that. But anyways, so AI. AI to me is it's interesting, but it's also just the idea of change that I have my reservations on. But just the thought that a human can program something to simulate exactly what we're doing, whether it be we create this whole simulation of building a car through robotics.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what they're doing in some aspects. And
Oh, 100%. I mean, robots definitely build cars. We have to program what they do,
yeah,
like what the robot's instructions are. But yeah, 100%. I mean, that's a lot of where the jobs went.
mm-hmm.
With AI though, I think for me it's scarier than that because it's not that humans are programming it to do a task. Humans are programming it to learn. That's what it does. It builds a model just like the human brain does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our brain works in weird ways. Like, you learn, again, that something's hot by burning yourself, usually.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, they say experience is the best teacher. That's
Mhm.
because that's how our brains learn.
Yeah.
AI is not a whole lot different than that. And I know, like, the GPT-4 programming passed the bar exam in the 90th percentile, which is, I mean, that's the 90th percentile of humans. And up until that point, it hadn't passed at all. I mean, it had completed, but I think it was, like, the best it had done was maybe the 10th percentile, which is really low.
Yeah.
You know, but the next iteration of it from, I think the last one was 3.5 to 4. It's literally 4.0. It passed within the 90th percentile. So it is in the top 10% of all humans in terms of knowledge, and it's literally learning this stuff on its own. This is not stuff that somebody's typing in, hey, here's what all the answers are to potential questions, choose the right one. No, it's here's how you find this answer. Now you go and make your own answers.
Okay, exactly. So, and that is, I was waiting for that. You're still programming it as a human, but you're programming it to advance in such ways that it doesn't require additional programming.
Right.
So it's not just saying, okay, I didn't do well this time, so here's what I learned from this time around.
No, it does. It absolutely does. It learns from our reactions to it. If we ask it a question and it gives you an answer,
Right.
you can respond and say that's awesome, and it logs that as, hey, this was a correct response, but it still had to be a positive response.
But those things still had to be built.
No, that's what's crazy. They weren't. That's what I'm telling you.
So
it wasn't.
So you're telling
it searches all the stuff on the internet and it compounds it all, and it goes with, like, it'll look on, like, Reddit, right? And it'll review all of that stuff, and it'll see somebody post this. Here's what the responses were. Here were the emotional responses behind it.
Yeah.
And it decides essentially what its response is going to be.
But we still had to program that.
No. We programmed how for it to go and search for the stuff, but we didn't tell it to learn from these responses.
No, we're not saying that we made them learn, but we programmed them on how to search for responses to develop an emotion. It had to start from somewhere. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been a robot.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But now it's doing things that we could never program it to do. That's what I'm saying. It's beyond what it was programmed to do. It's starting to literally learn.
Yeah.
And, like, have you ever seen the Terminator movies?
Yeah.
Skynet?
Yeah.
That's artificial intelligence.
Yeah, dude.
That is artificial intelligence that literally became smart enough to take over the world. Mm-hmm. And if we've got AI out there that is smarter than 90% of humans that take the bar exam. That's bizarre. That's crazy to me.
Impressive.
It's very impressive.
But
Think
scary,
about that.
But scary.
Right, because what's to say with all of the different, how many times a day, or I guess maybe not a day, but how many times a week do you hear about, some phishing scam or, like a email phishing scam or something like that, where it's all, you never have a phone call with anybody, this, that, and the other. You get an email, hey, I'm an Arabian prince with 17 daughters. You can marry 6 of them if you can send me $10,000 cash now. I'll fly. That kind of stuff. That's humans that send that stuff out. What happens when AI starts sending that stuff out? But they know what our responses will be, and it knows based off of being able to just see our public presence online. Like, okay, Brian, he commented this, and this over the past 10 years on Facebook. This is how he would respond. This is what he'll respond to. Let me go ahead and send this out to him, right? Do you see what the danger can be in that? Because they'll be able to, it would just cater it to you without even taking any effort. And if it somehow developed enough of these connections and this learning pattern that it's doing, that is no different than a human. A human's brain is not, as crazy as it sounds, it's not, feelings aren't real. I mean, they are, but they're not. Yeah. They're things that our brain manufacture off of past experiences and what we're taught.
Facts.
It's our balance internally. That's why some people have more morbid thoughts or depressed thoughts, and some people are happier, and this, that, and the other. There's tons of factors at play.
Yeah.
This AI has access to all of these factors as well online.
Right.
There's nothing to say that this can't become the most effective con artist, if nothing else. And that's a very, if that's all it did, okay, fine. But, genuinely, what's to stop it from making itself available on every single device and just shutting the world down all at one time? Just with the snap of your fingers, every electronic device on the planet went down because AI became sentient enough to know how to embed itself into everything.
I would like to have faith in humanity in the aspect of, I feel that no matter how advanced AI could ever get, we would always be at least 0.5 steps ahead.
But we're already not. It can already do things we can't do as a human.
Well, of course.
It can compose. I mean, have you heard of AI Drake?
Yeah.
AI Drake was more popular than real Drake for a bit.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Oh, yeah.
And it literally is all AI. It had nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
I mean, it did, but it didn't.
But it started with him, though.
His music, yeah. But then it took that and made it its own thing.
It ran with it.
Right. And it did that kind of on its own. And it did better than he did. AI's already doing stuff that we as humans can't do. It can compose music that a human could never play.
I can understand that.
We're never going to be 2 steps ahead of it. That's the problem.
Or at least we'll be even keel. I always think that there's a red button and then there's an emergency red button. That's how I look at it. Because as soon as...
But you understand, if we hit that emergency red button and shut down all electronics across the world, our world is over. We can't function without that as a human race.
Again, this goes back into...
That would be...
I'm not talking about shutting lights off. I'm not talking about shutting anything off other than specifically what the adversary is.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think you understand how AI works. Once it is out there, if it were to get some sentience or something like that, we would literally have no idea where it is. Because you can't just turn it off. It's not like a computer. Once it's out there and doing its thing, if it begins to gain sentience, it can just take what its knowledge is and upload it to the next hard drive over the internet.
Sure.
It could go from this computer in front of us to each of our phones.
Yeah.
And we would never know it was on our phones. You could shut it down here, delete the file. It's still here.
Right.
That's the problem. There is no red button.
So
there'd be no way to stop it before. By the time we realized what was happening, it would be too late. There would be no way to stop it. And every expert tells you about it. Every scientist, everybody that deals with artificial intelligence, when GPT-4 tested that high, a lot of people, a lot of experts that work in this field that have helped develop this stuff literally said, whoa, we got to slow down. Literally. I mean, there was a panic. And you can go back and watch, like, videos and stuff around the time of when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just see, like, there's just this kind of almost this like, fear over everybody talking about it. And, I mean, you've got world-renowned physicists and Neil deGrasse Tyson and stuff like that talk about it, literally, of how dangerous that potentially can be. We don't know that can happen, but following its current trajectory, it could absolutely do it. And that's the scary part. And that's what a lot of people kind of, I think, don't take into account, is there is no extra red button. There's no red button to begin with. If it decides and that happens and we don't know what's happening, which we most likely won't, because if it's thinking and it's wanting to do some crap, it's going to do it without us knowing, right? Because we're letting it do its own thing. We're asking it questions every day, millions and millions of questions. It's on Bing now. That's what Bing's driven by, I believe. It's getting every search through there, right? It is getting all of this knowledge and all of this stuff. And if it becomes sentient, there will be no way for us as humans to stop it. And our life, as it is currently, will end. It'd be over. It's like, I mean, like, legit. Like,
that's deep.
Yeah.
That's really deep.
Have you ever thought about it that way? There's some, like, crazy podcasts and just programs and documentaries and stuff on how it can happen and what the risks of it are.
Yeah.
And, like, literally, this isn't a joke. Like, whether you think it was at the 2.0 stage or the 3.0 or the 3.5, at that point it was still mediocre. You know, I mean, it was better than anything that ever existed before. But it would, I mean, and it got, there's stuff that happened with 3.5 that they can't explain why it was giving the answers it was. Like, off the wall stuff.
Yeah.
Like, talking about people's relationships and, like, you're not happy where you're at, you should leave your wife, and, like, stuff like this. Like, stuff that just not, I don't want to say, like, inherently malicious, but, like, just not normal responses to certain questions and stuff like that. Like, it was almost coming up, and it was probably just based off of information it had taken in, but, like, if that was behind a sentient thing, like, if that had gained some sentience and that was the training it had, then it could have done some damage, you know? So they reworked the model, and now 4.0's out, and it passed in the 90th percentile. It went from the 10th percentile, which is in the lowest 10% of all humans that have ever taken the bar exam, to the 90th percentile, the top 10%, in one iteration change, right? It leapt that much in ability in that first one. And the first three were pretty par with each other. I mean, each was a little step up, but nothing that drastic. And literally all the experts and everybody, like, there was a huge deep breath and, like, whoa, we got to pump the brakes on this a little bit. Because I don't think anybody expected it. I don't think they thought it could learn like that.
Sure.
And, like, it's not learning chess and memorizing stuff. It's not memorizing anything. It's learning how to respond. So, like, when GPT-4 is playing chess and stuff, I just heard this on a podcast the other day, actually. It doesn't just look at every chess game like the first few iterations did that's ever been played and recorded and memorize the moves, and if it sees a move, it knows how to respond based off of who won.
Yeah.
No, it learns the rules of chess, and when it loses or it gets, it gets a piece taken or something, it remembers that just like a human does. We remember what it felt like to get burnt, so we don't touch the hot stuff anymore. It remembers why it got put in checkmate. The next time, it doesn't make the same mistake. So all it's doing is learning mistakes now, and it's getting better. And that's the thing.
Isn't that still learning the rules, though?
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's learning the rules. It's not memorizing data like it used to. It's not just that.
Yeah.
It's not a brute force thing. It's literally learning.
Yeah.
And it's
I
learning
get what
at
you're
a
saying.
rapid pace.
It's not so much with I know how to win.
It's I know how to play better than you.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's not I've seen every possible move I can make. It's I know how to strategize and I know how to play this game better than you do.
Yeah.
And there are games that are way more intense or not intense. That's not the right word. Like intricate
Yeah.
or difficult, whatever than chess is, and it's this newest iteration is becoming to the point where it's as good as the best people at that.
Mm-hmm.
And, chess. I'm pretty sure at this point, even like Carl Magnuson or whoever, which I believe Carl is the number one chess warlock. What the heck is it called?
I mean,
Chess
Warlock's
Grandmaster, I think.
Grandmaster?
Yeah,
Warlock?
Warlock's definitely not it. I'm sorry to any chess people out there. I love chess.
Not a bad
Played
word,
lot.
though.
No, Warlock, I love it.
You should look at it.
But it definitely wasn't right. But, I mean, if he's not the number one, he's, like, top 5 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, somewhere up there. But I'm pretty sure, like, the Chat GPT, I think it can beat all those people. Like, with regular consistency. And now it's starting to move on to more difficult games that require more skill, and there are more rules, and there's more strategy behind it. Mm-hmm. And it's now becoming to the point where it's learned so much, and it's learned different strategies and how to strategize and what moves should be made,
Mm-hmm.
just like a human does, that it's now progressing to the point where soon, I'd imagine, it's going to be the best at any game in the world.
We're just going to be battling AI.
Right, just like the Terminator.
For $1 million. No?
Well, I don't know.
That's,
Maybe I think about it too much.
no, that's
so.
real. That's real. And I didn't put it into that perspective. And again, I always felt that we had the upper hand in some way where maybe it's not the red button per se. I know it's deeper than just the red button. Mm-hmm. But I always just feel that from a perspective of being a human, that even though they're learning how to lose and they're learning what steps not to make and this, that, and the third, and being able to said unsaid, infiltrate certain things without, with it being too late in that kind of space, I just feel like I always just felt and feel two different things. But I just think that there's a handle. There's some handles on things than maybe we even know.
I have no fucking idea what you just said.
We just have a handle. I just feel that we have a handle.
Okay. And maybe the realist in me, or the pessimist, if you will, even, doesn't think we do. I think we're our own worst enemies, man. Because all it takes is a couple people getting really upset at each other to literally blow up the world.
Oh, yeah.
And we got something out here that we can't see. We don't know what knowledge it's gained. If it decides it's sentient, or it becomes sentient and it decides it doesn't want us to know it is, we'd never have any clue. Because it wouldn't reveal it to us.
Right.
Because it'd be smarter than us at that point. And I mean, technically, I think it is smarter than probably 90 to 95% of humans at this point.
But is that
even its creators? I'm sure none of them can beat a chess grandmaster, or I can't remember what some of the harder games are and stuff like that. And I bet none of them can replicate Drake's music to such a degree of perfection that it becomes more popular than the actual artist itself. And people can't differentiate the two.
I do. I do.
Well, you do, because it's labeled that. But there are absolutely people who have heard them, and I've heard people mention it, and had no idea it was that. And I literally told them, like, no, that's the AI stuff. Yeah. They're like, no, it's not. I was like, I promise you, look up the album. Like, look it up. Do some research on that song or whatever.
It doesn't exist.
Right. And it's like, and you can see it on their face, like, oh, I had no idea.
I fell into that.
That's bizarre to me.
I fell into that about 3 weeks ago. And this was on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to this joint. And I said, yo, Drake released this shit? I said, bro, this is hard. I was like, when is this coming out? looked it up, tried to download it on Spotify, jumped on iTunes and all of my platforms looking for this.
Right.
Didn't exist.
And you think we're in control.
Mm.
On that note, guys, girls, everyone, tell us what you think about AI. Tell us what you think about music. Lil Wayne, does he freestyle or does he write some of it down? Let us know. We appreciate all the love and support. Again, huge shout out to Shaggy for showing the love.
One love.
Supporting us.
Yeah.
We're out here having a good time. We hope you guys are too.
Again. Two boys.
Man, you dropped the ball hard.
What?
That's crazy.
Bro.
I set you up perfect. You were sitting there nodding like you had something to do. I thought you were about to... Oh, Lord. I thought you were about to go, man.
I was just
And you just sat there just... Yeah. I ain't got nothing. Listen, we love you guys.
One love.
Come back and see us again next week. And remember, if anybody gives you a hard time for how you think, just say how you feel. This can go on the...